Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at the latest set for Warhammer Underworlds Deathgorge from Games Workshop. So first of all I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us a free review copy a little ahead of time to check out and review on the site. In this video we're going to be having a look at the box, seeing what you get inside, checking out the Warbands in there along with all the cards, and then by the end of the video we'll have these built and painted and see what the models look like in the flesh. So yeah, Warhammer Underworlds is now getting two seasons per year, so two big boxes with two warbands in, the rulebook, all the kind of tiles and tokens and kind of all the bits that you need to play the game. And obviously that's accelerated from a couple of years ago where we got one of these boxes per year, and then in addition to this you then get kind of standalone warband and card releases. Well, this is the latest set and it is Deathgorge. We have moved away from the wilds of Ger, and it looks like we're now in some kind of aquatic setting again. Looks like a really fun set as well. We've got the forces of Slaanesh against the Deepkin. So we flip this over, we can see that inside we get two new warbands in there, Cyril's Razors and the Thricefold Discord. So yeah, I collect both Slaanesh and Deepkin, so when this one arrived I was keen to get my teeth into it and check it out. Obviously we've said things in the past about the speed of these releases. Personally I'd prefer one of these big boxes per year, but you know, the new cards and new tiles does add a lot of variety. What we'll be doing in here as well is checking out to see if any of the core rules have changed, because obviously last time you know, a couple of things did change around. So if we flip this over and crack open the box, let's have a look at what we get inside. So first of all, as is often the case with these, we get some new tiles for the game. So we check out this. I do like the colour palette for this one. Obviously we were in the Gnarlwood last time with lots of browns and stuff. This is a nice change of palette with some kind of blues and frosty effects, so quite like that. So that's the first tile. We also get, as per usual, a couple of sheets of tokens. So these are used for tracking your glory. Looks like we've got maybe some new stuff in there as well. Tracking objectives, tracking your wounds, all that kind of like bookkeeping is done through tokens in Underworlds. And again you get two sheets of those. We also get the second board in here. If we pop this open too, again really nice colour scheme, and we've got some variety in starting positions and obstacles and dangerous tiles and the like. So that's one of the good things about these sets, is that it does expand the options that you've got when putting together your force for Underworlds, your kind of like library of tiles that you've got. We also get the rulebook. We'll have a look at that in a little bit just to see if anything's changed, and the assembly instructions again. If we have a look at this, we can see that these are all push fit models and they're quite easy to put together. Some of them want more bits than others. I really like the squid guy. He's cool. And then on the other side we've got the Slaanesh warband. Obviously only 3 models in that one too, so not many models to deal with. We get all the dice that we need and the cards again. We'll cut away to them in a second, because first of all I just want to look at the miniatures and see what we get. So the Idoneth warband is on a light blue plastic frame. Again, if you're a regular player of Underworld, you'll know that these are provided in coloured frames, so you can just play them out of the box as they are. Obviously we'll be painting these up because, you know, it's got to be done. But yeah, they look really nice. I'm torn on this box because I really like, you know, the Deepkin, but I'm a massive Slaanesh player too, so it's going to be hard for me to pick a favourite out of these. But yeah, there's some nice stuff in there. So 4-member warband, including the squid guy, giving us a variety of aquatic life in our games of Underworlds. The other warband, however, has only got 3 members, and it is a Slaanesh one on a dark purple frame. And yeah, these are cool as well. we've got quite a different vibe to these, to some of the other Slaanesh stuff that we've had in the past. It looks like it's a trio of demons and they all hate each other, which is a really, really nice touch. So yeah, really, really looking forward to getting some paint on these and checking them out. So let's have a look next if any of the rules have changed in game. So let's delve into the new rulebook and see what's new. Obviously we've got a bit of a new setting here as well. So the last kind of box, well the last couple of boxes really were set within the Gnarlwood, and we've now kind of moved into another part of Ger, to the Deathgorge, which there's talk here of something awakening beneath Ger, and again, I don't know if this is related maybe to the moors that are opening up in the other game that's up for pre-order today, the new Warcry expansion, in that the manifestation of the Ogre God is causing moors to open across Ger. Now obviously the kind of ogres are also associated with kind of frost and ice and snow, so I don't know if that's somehow linked to this or there's something else waking up. It is quite interesting to see kind of what's going to happen here, but yeah, we get the new setting and all the lore about it. And we also learn about the two factions here as well. My favourite out of the two has got to be the Slaanesh Warband. Essentially they are a trio of demons that all hate each other, and after their antics and trying to undermine each other has caused like one too many losses for Slaanesh, Silesk has kind of given them a punishment in that they all have to work together and are sent here to basically face punishment for what they've done, work together in order to serve Slaanesh better, and they really hate that because they all hate each other's guts. So that's quite an interesting approach to the warband. When we see the cards in a little bit, you'll see that kind of keys on how they play as well, the fact that they hate each other. There's an interesting inspire mechanic for them. And then on the other hand, we've got Sirene's Razors, which is the Idenith Deepkin warband. Basically they're trying to harness the steam of the Deathgorge to use them for their people. So they're the two forces that we're playing. Like with the other Underworld sets, we've got the full rules in here. Now there's a few little tweaks that I've noticed in here. There might be more that I've missed. The rule set hasn't changed massively, but there have been like different tweaks every time a new book comes out. We saw a lot of them in the previous set, and there's a couple of things that are a little bit different in here that I did clock as we were going through the new rules. One of which is that if you've got any upgrade cards that you cannot use, or you've got spells in your hand and you've not got a caster anymore, you can choose to do a salvage action, and that basically means that you can discard that in place of playing a power card and draw a new one, which is pretty good. That's a nice way of cycling those cards out of your hand without needing to discard them in an end step or something, which is quite useful. It can get you something handy back into your deck. What's also new in this book as well is a lot more info on reaction changes as well, and we kind of see like a Magic the Gathering style stack where reactions to reactions and then reaction to that reaction might become another sub-reaction, and we get a nice little chart kind of making things a little bit easier for that, so we see how those reaction chains play out. I don't think that has been included within the book before. We've just had this kind of the basic reaction stuff, and obviously reactions on top of reactions, things get a little bit more complex, so we've got more clarity on how those different chains of reactions play out. But other than that, this is essentially the same the same Underworlds that we've had since the previous box that came out. We do get a bit more clarity on the different ways to play here as well, so it spells out the fact that we've got Rivals, where you just take your Rivals deck. You've got Nemesis, which uses a combination of two Rivals decks, or you've got the traditional Relic, where you take whatever cards you want and you build a deck out of them. the Rivals Nemesis have become really popular because you don't need to have, you know, every card that comes out within the season. You know, a couple of years ago they kind of moved how Underworlds works from lots of universal cards being included in every warband, so competitively you had to pick up every warband in order able to have access to all of those cards. But now it's moved more to each warband that comes out, you've got their rival deck, and then they sell additional Rivals decks that come out over the course of it. I mean, you do get 2 Rivals decks included in this box too, in addition to the 2 faction rival decks, so you can play with some of these formats. For me personally, I love the simplicity of just Rivals, taking your warband out the box and using those cards. That's very kind of, I guess it's not as kind of high play maybe as crafting your deck with Red Nemesis, but for pick up and play and ease, and if you may be introducing the game to younger players or people new to the game, just the simplicity of being able to pick up that warband box and use the deck straight out of it straight away, I think is a really big plus to me. So yeah, really like that. Now, like with the other rule books as well, everything's really clear in here. We've got a full glossary, and on the back of it as well we've got the full kind of sequencing as well, which makes things, you know, a lot easier to follow. So let's have a look at the cards of the warbands that are included in here. The first one that we'll take a nosy at is the Thricefold Discord. So this is the Slaanesh warband, and these are quite interesting in that they all absolutely hate each other. So their Inspire mechanic basically means that one of your demons, there'll be another demon that he doesn't like. If that demon makes an attack or defense or casting roll and there's no successes in it, your guy inspires. So this guy hates Vashtis, for example. Vashtis hates Lichvar, for example. So they'll all key off each other failing, which is really quite fun. Each of them have got their own unique locus as well. So Vexmoor's got the locus of Indolence, so -1 damage from him of 1 if there's no successes in his defense roll, so we kind of mitigate some of that damage coming into him. With him having 5 health as well, that makes him quite hardy. He's got a pretty good attack, which does 3 damage at range 2. When he inspires as well, he gets extra defense, and he is a caster too, so he's pretty nice. We've got Vashtis the Coiled, who is the kind of snake looking one. Again, that one inspires when another one of the trio basically fails and doesn't have any successes. The locus that this one has got is the locus of Paramountcy. Adjacent enemy fighters cannot be supported while they're the target of an attack action, so that's pretty handy. Again, a caster, we've got a ranged spell, and again a pretty good melee attack too with a range of 2, which is something we see across this warband. And then when inspired again, gets additional range on the spell and gets a little bit tougher too. So then we've got the final member of the trio. Again, this one inspires when Vexmoor fails basically an attack action, has no successes, and his locus is that he's considered to have an additional supporting fighter all the time. So there are some cards that key off you know, when a supported fighter makes an attack, so I guess that, you know, trigger those ones as well. And then the inspired state as well on him. So yeah, I really like that. It's an interesting warband. For their cards, we've got some pretty good stuff. So you score this one after playing a second or subsequent temptation card in the same phase. We'll see those in a little bit, but basically it kind of plays off the temptation mechanic for Slaanesh. So you show the other person the card, and there's 2 bad things that can happen, and they've got to pick which one kind of keys off them. And most of the kind of power cards in here have got that ability, so that's quite an easy one to do. Score immediately after your warband's force subsequent casting in the same phase. And yeah, so we've got a lot of quite fun cards here for these, and a lot of them are fairly easy to do with as well. I think this is going to be quite a fun warband to play. I know I'm a big Slaanesh fan, and for the purpose of this video I've painted up the Slaanesh warband first as well. Dave's going to be working on the Idoneth Deepkin because he is a big fan of them. So yeah, we've got some fun objective cards here. And then onto the Gambit cards as well. We've got some spells that you'd expect, but then we see some of these temptation cards as well. So this is a good example where they get to pick what happens to them, which really does kind of like, I guess, capture the feeling of those temptation dice from Age of Sigmar. And there's quite a few of these. I quite like that it puts the pressure on your opponent to pick which of the outcomes they want. So yeah. Yeah, they're a pretty nice warband. I think these are going to be a fun one to play, especially in that you're kind of rooting for your own guys to fail, so that you can inspire. I think that's pretty fun. It's going to be interesting seeing how they perform on the table, because you probably don't want them next to each other either, because they all hate their guts. But yeah, like I say, this is the deck for the Slaanesh Warband themselves. We do get 2 other Rivals decks in here as well, which we'll have a quick look at in a bit. First of all though, we'll have a nosy at the Idoneth Deepkin deck. So this is Cenari's Razors, and again these are an interesting warband too that have got quite a unique inspire mechanic. So again, this seems very much inspired by the Idoneth Deepkin on the table in Games of Age of Sigmar. And basically what happens is that you inspire in the 3rd step of round 1, and then at the end of the turn you uninspire. And then you re-inspire in the 2nd power step in round 2, and then at the end you uninspire. And then in the 3rd round, in the 1st power step you inspire, then at the end of the round you uninspire. So yeah, it's quite interesting that they kind of cycle through the tides basically, like in the the tabletop Age of Sigmar. It's quite a nice way of representing that mechanic in Underworlds. And what's really good as well, obviously your entire warband's inspiring in each of those dedicated steps, so you can really work around how and when you're going to strike and maximise your abilities. So they seem a really fun warband. They are pretty good as well. They've got a nice mixture of magic and combat, and their deck, plays to that too. So again, like with the Slaanesh ones, there's some fun objectives that aren't too tricky to get, which is really nice to see. The good thing with these boxes, you tend to get 2 flavourful warbands, and again the miniatures are gorgeous too, which can't be knocked. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dave does with his Idoneth, to see what's he going to do, how's he going to paint them up, is he going to go for an unusual scheme. You'll see at the end of the video what I've done with the Slaanesh warband, so that is something to stay tuned for. But yeah, I do much prefer the concept of having these Rivals decks, rather than feeling that maybe the deck that you got in the box was suboptimal and then you had to buy all those other boxes in order to maximise what your warband can do. I think this is a much better approach and makes it more accessible as well, because even if you're playing Nemesis format, you just need your kind of core warband plus one other Nemesis deck, and then you can mix and match between them to make your optimum deck. You get 2 in the box. There'll probably be another couple of sets that they sell during the run of this edition as well. I say edition season, we now get 2 kind of boxes within the season. And a lot of older warbands as well we're seeing crop up in other places as well. I believe there's a new starter set up for pre-order today as well. I'm not actually seeing that one myself yet, but I think it's very similar to the one that came out not too long ago. So yeah, like I say, we do also get 2 Rivals decks in here as well. One keyed at magic and casters, and the other one more keyed towards kind of combat. But let's have a look at the painted miniatures and have a look what those guys look like. And here's a look at the assembled models. So I built up both warbands, dead easy to build. You know, they're push fit. I've not actually used any glue on these as well. If you do glue them, just make sure you shave the pegs down a little bit, because the extra couple of millimeters of, I guess, surface from the glue can actually cause these to not fit, you know, really flush. But yeah, they're really, really nice model. Like I say, Dave's going to be painting up the elves here. But yeah, I worked on the Slaanesh stuff that we saw in a minute. But again, really, really nice models. I hope we see some more infantry for the Idoneth Deepkin at some point in the future. I'd love to see, like, you know, octopus cavalry or something cool like that. So yeah, they're really nice. But my favourite of the two warbands are the Slaanesh warband, and I had great fun painting these guys up. I've got a big Head Knights of the Slaanesh army for Age of Sigmar, so when we saw this box was coming out, I jumped at the chance to paint these ones up, and I've done them in a similar scheme to how I did my Age of Sigmar army, but I've gone a little bit different. For the skin, I've used wave 2 of Two Thin Coats paint. Started off with a grey green and worked up to a grey, and then went over the whole lot with a purple glaze, which so essentially highlighted up through the greys, and then the purple glaze is then tinting it to an unnatural purple colour, and it almost looks a little bit metallic. For the metallic, started off with golds and silvers, then went over that with purple contrast paint to give it that kind of unnatural metal look as well. So that is the first one. We've then got this demon here, and again, really, really nice model. Great fun to paint up. One of the good things about Warhammer Underworlds is that the models are really nice, kind of palette cleansers. If you're between projects or you just fancy painting something a bit different, it's really fun to be able to paint them up. And then we've got the leader of the warband, who again is a really nice model and really unusual. It doesn't really look like any other demon that we've had for Slaanesh. Really freaky looking guy. So yeah, and again, it was really good fun to paint up, with his long tail and the kind of weird spikes coming out the back of it. I hope we kind of get a demon unit for Slaanesh that looks like this. It'd be cool to see some new stuff come out for the game. So yeah, these were a great little palette cleanser. Let me paint some more Slaanesh stuff in between other projects. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video. Over on spruesandbrews.com I've got a bit of a write-up as well, so we've got a full review, and we kind of talk about, you know, my top cards in the various decks as well. So check that out over on the site if you are interested. We've also got a video up to date of the new Warcry set as well, featuring the Wildercore Hunters versus the Ogre Gorgers. So check that one out too, with some painted ogres on that one. And yeah, I think there's going to be lots of fun stuff coming up in the next few weeks. It's the run towards Christmas now, and I'm sure there'll be lots of kits on the horizon. So if you have enjoyed this, why not give us a follow? We do lots of unboxings and painting videos and battle reports and the like. And if you would like to support the site as well, in the description I've got a link to Element Games as well. If you use that, we get a little bit of a kickback, which helps towards running the site. But yeah, until next time, hope you have a great time, and we'll see you soon.